Alla, take us back to October 2024. AI was not that good back then. Obviously, I was already obsessed with AI. And you'd reached out to me and you said, you've got 60-page government RFP. I think 60 pages were just the rules of this government RFP. And you asked if I would help. I thought about it and I thought, let's test my AI. I've created these digital twins, spent a lot of time and effort. They've never done a government RFP. They know nothing about your industry. They know nothing about recruiting, tech people for government jobs. This will be a good test. Let's give it a shot. So I ran it through my AIs, and I know I sent you an email within the first hour or two, and I said, send me some case studies, and you sent me some case studies. And I think that's the only thing I'd asked. I sent it back, and then you tell us the rest of the story, what happened, and tell us what was this $5.5 million RFP all about?
I remember it was back in October, and I did send you an RFP that me and my team worked on, but I knew we are not going to win with that one. For the government sector clients and the government sector proposal, especially municipal government, they are extremely process driven. The RFP has to precisely analyze each question and answer with the knowledge of my company, our delivery model, and how we do business. And at that time, I remember you were able to analyze and actually tailored your response to my company's abilities. What's interesting is that if I was to hire professional RFP writer, that's the average salary for the professional RFP writer in Canada is 140K. Or if I were to hire the whole team of proposal writers, I don't think I would have been able to achieve those results overnight. So the stuff you've done with AI is just incredible.
I think the reason most companies don't respond to RFPs is they're super hard. It's a lot of work. Agency that I ran for 25 years around the world, we wouldn't actually do RFPs because I would have to take my top 3 or 4 people for weeks. They'd be working on this RFP and there's no what if we don't get it? What a waste of time that would be. We're taking my best people off great client work for a hope to win something. I hated it. What I think is amazing about AI is when you actually give AI all of the data, the knowledge, it was trained on my thinking. But then when you gave it a really good problem, it was incredible how in hours, and this is back in 2024 where AI wasn't that good, it could beat an entire floor of proposal writers. Let's talk about some of the competition you had for the RFP.
The competition were large enterprise clients like Deloitte, KPMG. Those are big clients. And think about us, a small recruitment agency who were competing against those large enterprise clients, and we were still able to win.
And those big clients all have lobbyists. So the fact you could beat these companies, it's incredible. It's August 2026. This is years later. What advice do you have if there's a business owner listening, based on what you learned about how just using AI, you could win these massive government RFPs or other RFPs? What advice would you give to a business owner, a business leader right now watching us today?
I think if we don't use AI at this point, we're just missing out. And with the help of AI, we can become so much more powerful as individuals, as professionals, and business owners.
I totally agree. I was wrong about something when we first talked about AI years ago. I believed because I was already seeing that I could do 80, 90% of coding by myself, and I'm not even a coder. I thought for sure there's going to be less tech people being hired. But I can tell you, Alla, I was wrong. It's August 2026. I believe that every company now is a tech company. Every company's going to need to hire 1 or 2 good programmers. And even though they're going to be using AI to do 80, 90% of the work, there's that last 10%, whether it's connecting accounts or certain security issues, they're going to have to hire those people. Companies that weren't technology companies before, everyone's a technology company today. I think that you're in the right place, the right time in history. I don't think that we've ever seen as many tech people about to be hired as right now, which again, counterintuitive. I would have denied this even 6 months ago, but I've changed my mind. I really think every company, every department is becoming more technical because we can do so much more, but it's that last 10%, the last 20%, whether it's integrating with our legacy systems or integrating our security issues or a lot of regulated industries like government, banking, legal, financial services, healthcare, they can't use regular AI. That last 10 or 20% is really important. So, but what do you think are some of the challenges as you meet leaders? What have you found? What is their appetite like for AI? Are you seeing they're resistant? What are you seeing in the marketplace?
I do see a lot of resistance, especially with my clients. I can tell you, Roman, and actually candidates as well. A lot of candidates would not like to have an interview with AI. The reason why is because they think that even though AI is less biased than a human, a lot of candidates would prefer a real human interaction just because they do not know how to interact with AI. They do not know what it is and how the information is gathered and how it's processed after. I see the future in recruitment definitely using AI, not only with candidates, with my clients as well. It's helping me, first of all, select the best candidates. It became much faster and much more productive as well.
How do you feel about companies now with what you've learned about winning big RFPs? What advice do you give to business leaders when you think about RFPs from businesses or government?
Government RFPs are usually the challenging ones. And the reason why is because they're so process driven. You can get disqualified by not answering one question, or if you have not been able to answer the question the way they wanted or structure the answer the way they wanted you to structure the answer. That's why I think it's so important to use AI help for that and become so much powerful. You'll have so much more potential for yourself and your company by using AI, winning those RFPs, and getting in front of your competition.
I think for a lot of people, they're worried about AI, like, oh, I'm not technical or I don't have an IT group. But between the two of us, you sent me the RFP that evening. That morning, I opened it. I used 3 AIs at the time that were already trained on the way I think and what I do. But those 3 AIs that I used are free. Anyone could use Claude or anyone could use ChatGPT. I think it's Perplexity. Perplexity I used. They're all free. So anyone could have done this, but I had them trained a certain way. But in a matter of hours, you were able to create a document working with me and the AI in hours, and you're able to win. And then tell us what happened in January when you got the good news.
Well, in January, we had 1 week to get the 3 insurances: liability insurance, errors and omissions, and cybersecurity insurance. Another challenge, so I reached out to you, Roman, and you were able to find the most price competitive insurance agencies in Toronto and the fastest ones, because obviously the government gives you one big deadline, you have to comply with those deadlines. So we were able to find those, you helped me to find those agencies, and we got the insurance within 48 hours.
I have no experience with these insurance companies, and I'd never gotten cyber insurance before, but it was AI. AI helped us do it. The AI had the knowledge of the RFP, and it was able to find, there's like only a few companies in this whole country that could even do the kind of policy you needed. It was like a needle in the haystack. And the moral of the story is AI can help you win the government RFPs or business RFPs, and they can help you execute it at a speed and a cost that no one else can compete with. This is the most exciting time in history. I don't know how you felt that day, but I felt limitless. You can win anything these days. I think that's really powerful. Small businesses need to hear that story because a lot of times they think it's rigged. These big companies have lobbyists and I can't win that. You don't know unless you try it. You can achieve these results without spending weeks of time. Why not give it a shot? I was very inspired by what you did. So in closing, based on what you've learned about AI over the last couple of years, because that was back 2024, but now in August 2026, what advice do you give to business owners and business leaders today?
I think it's important for any business owner to be open-minded to using new technologies and open-minded, curious about the possibilities AI could have and the impact AI could have on our businesses. There is so much more potential that we might not be aware of, but it's there. We just have to learn that and we just have to try it.
I know that in recruiting, even if candidates think they're not using AI, everyone's using AI. Every call is being recorded, then they run it through the AI. So whether you like AI or not, it's being used against you or it can be for you, but it's up to you. I think in 2026, the only people I would hire have to have AI all over their resume. And what I'd be looking for is their GitHub repository. If somebody doesn't have a GitHub repository, I wouldn't hire them. So forget about LinkedIn, forget about resume. I don't care. But if you don't even know what GitHub is, and I can't go to your GitHub repository and see that you've done something, it's a new world, new age. I think these diplomas mean nothing. I think that these degrees mean nothing. But what's real is your GitHub repository, because it shows how much code you've written, what you've done. Even these vibe tools with Lovable, you can see how many websites I built, how many apps I built. All of this is real. It's quantifiable. It's not this work of fiction that most resumes or work of fiction that's LinkedIn. This is real. My advice would be find people that are builders. Find people that are doing something. And I don't care if it's unrelated. I don't care if you built an app about selling horses. It doesn't matter to me, but you built something. You built the app or you built the technology for that. To me, that's really exciting. That's who I want to hire, but I want to get your advice.
With regards to hiring people, the most important thing that we're looking for is curiosity, being curious, and being curious about the new technologies, being open-minded about the new technologies, and being able to adapt the changes in life. Think about that. Back in 90s, people were not using texting as a way of communication, and they were resistant to that changes. They would prefer to make a phone call instead of text, and nowadays everyone uses that. So I feel like AI could be potentially a new texting in the future. Everyone is going to use it. Everyone is going to adopt it. It's just a matter of time right now.
I remember the 1990s, I'm running these free seminars about the internet. We only had 3 places in Toronto that had high-speed internet. There were these 3 internet cafes. So I'd rent out the cafe for a couple hours and I'd do the seminar. And my seminar was like, this is www, and that's a website. And then I'd have this thing with an @ symbol, and that's going to be your email. And people are like, what if I don't want both? I just want the www. I don't want the thing with that. You got to have both. You got to have the www. And yeah, this is my conversation for tears. Then we're like, social media started. So immediately we're like, this is called Facebook. This is called LinkedIn. This thing's called Twitter. And like, okay, I just want one. No, you can't have one. You're going to have like all of these things. And today, so now 2026, these are my conversations. So, or you've used ChatGPT, great. You're one of the billion people. If you use Claude, well, there's only 100 million of those people. But let's show you about Claude. There's this thing called Gemini. That's Google. This thing called Perplexity. Like you go and like, I only want one. No, you're not going to have one. You're going to have a bunch of these things and they're going to work together. So it's so funny. My presentations, I just changed the www to the @ and then it goes from Facebook to LinkedIn, and now it's Claude and Perplexity, etc. So humans are the challenge with AI. The technology is way ahead of us. It's getting people to adopt change. It's like the people that resisted using Google or they resisted using social media. They're just resistant to change, but they got to stop being afraid. This is not going to stop. No one is going to stop this AI movement. It is more important than electricity. It's going to change every business. I really believe there's going to be, just like biblical times, there was BC before Christ and 80, and it's going to be pre-AI and post-AI. And most of the pre-AI companies will not survive. But Roman, there's an AI bubble and a lot of those companies aren't going to make it. I'm not worried about those companies. I'm worried about all the pre-AI companies. They're not going to make it. It's like, give you an example right now of the S&P 500. There's some companies that haven't done anything in a decade. Like for a decade, like their values are the same. There are 7 companies that have made all the money. 7 companies. So it's like, you can clearly see there's 7 tech companies. It's like they get it. They understand how to use AI. And the 493, they're just like going nowhere. And that's what I see today. Anyone that's not embracing AI, they're going nowhere. And in 5 years, they might not be here. I congratulate you on your success with AI and the RFPs. And I'm sure there's lots more you're going to win. Thank you for joining me today.